Welcome to Dear Business Coach, the podcast. My name's Elizabeth. Find one thing to move your business forward today. With conversations, spotlights, interviews, articles, and free resources. Listen, follow, and subscribe on social media, Dear Business Coach pages and groups. Dear Business Coach podcast. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. And don't forget Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. All it takes sometimes is one little thing to move your business forward today. Live. Welcome. It is 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and my name is Elizabeth Walker, host and producer of the Dear Business Coach podcast and Walker Consulting Workshops. And today's LinkedIn Live audio is called the ROI of LOL and Catered Lunch. So if you haven't already, please share the event and leave a comment and say hello. I will send you a direct link invite to the event, and there's a copy of the menu posted in the comments today. So that's a little bit of a sneak preview. It is a private share, I guess, if you will. Now, this is a menu from Bella Events Catering here in Roanoke, Virginia. And this is the lunch menu for Friday, October 18th that we're having in the Fostek Hall. So this is for the event today. Today's LinkedIn Live is for the event that I'm hosting on Friday, October 18th. So that's this Friday. That means it's only 4 days away. And if you are listening right now, then you might already know from the invite to the event this morning, as well as posted on the comment section in this event, is a free book copy. So the ROI of LOL is the book by Steve Cody and Clayton Fletcher, and I have that here in front of me. So what I will do today for the next few minutes is kind of pull out some quotes from the book and then talk about an item on the menu. We're not talk about an item on the menu, but highlight what's going on with our schedule and what's on the menu that on Friday. So in order to reserve your seat and get your... Are you an executive or team leader in the Roanoke Valley, Virginia area? Hi, my name's Elizabeth Walker. I'm inviting you to a special one-day-only event at the downtown Jefferson Center here in Roanoke, Virginia, a leadership and comedy experience called The Power of Laughter Masterclass with Clayton Fletcher, author and stand-up comedian. Visit the QR code in the ad and visit walkerconsultingworkshops.com. Don't miss out. Masterclass tickets, visit walkerconsultingworkshops.com, and that is my website that takes you directly to the ad where you can watch the video. There's an interview there of Clayton Fletcher with me. Clayton Fletcher is who is teaching the workshop. So I guess I better tell you the name of the workshop is called The Power of Laughter Masterclass with Clayton Fletcher, and I'm hosting. Again, my name is Elizabeth Walker, and I own and operate Walker Consulting Workshops and the Dear Business Coach podcast. So if you haven't already subscribed to email, then you can also do that at dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com. You are supposed to see a pop-up, and if you don't like pop-ups, I apologize. Just exit off the screen, but before you do, type in your email address right there, and that way you're subscribed, and you won't be asked again when you come back. At least that's the way the website is set up. Now, let's see. Let me take a sip of coffee here. And I am doing this as a LinkedIn Live audio. I love doing these audio events. Thank you so much for being here. Hi, Annie. Hey, Brianna. Brianna, did you highlight your profile picture? You have a heart there, or you haven't seen it in a while. Annie, I hope you got your book. I know you did. Brianna, if you would like a copy of the book, I definitely would like to give you one too. So if you have any friends in the Roanoke, Virginia area, I have these free copies as well for the book. And the way you do that is just comment or send me a DM, and I will ask you for your mailing address. And these are books that are mailed out from me personally. So I personally put the label on a mailer and send it to you, USPS postal mail. So let's start with a quote from the book. So we're talking today about the ROI of LOL. So if you're local and you're interested in hearing about the event itself, awesome, you'll get some details. And if you're also joining us for fun, then you're going to get some quotes here from the book, The ROI of LOL, which is a really easy read. It's all about sketch comedy, stand-up comedy, and the art of comedy in business skills. And I say in business speaking, but the actual tagline or the actual subtitle line on the book says how laughter breaks down walls, drives compelling storytelling, and creates a healthy workplace. So I have to tell you, I am not a comedian. I do not have comedic training. I do have a love of theater arts and filmmaking, and I have definitely taken some improv classes, which is partially why I am super excited about having Clayton to Roanoke, because I'm kind of a theater nerd, and I wish that I had comedy skills, right? So I'm going to be a student at this event myself, and that's actually why this event is happening, because I want to learn what Clayton has to teach. And the other thing that's really exciting about this particular workshop is Clayton is unique in his style, because he specifically takes time to talk to us about how he believes and has a passion for that comedy can be taught. So the way that he thinks about his material, the workshop, the book, and his time with you at the workshop is he sees himself as a teacher. And I have to tell you firsthand, he's an excellent teacher. I have read this book many times. However, as you might expect, being live in person in the workshop is a whole different experience. And true to professional workshop style, what happens in this experience is you get a little professional training yourself, but part of what makes the workshop work is you also get to watch other people in action in having their own material and their own their own workshop experience too. So you're not only learning from a professional with your own experience, you're also watching others in real time, live in front of you in the workshop, participate and unveil their revelations, if you will. So let's get back to the book again, The ROI of LOL. And again, the event is called the Power of Laughter Masterclass with Clayton Fletcher. I'm hosting. My name's Elizabeth Walker, host and producer of the Dear Business Coach podcast and Walker Consulting workshops. And the way to view the event, read all the details, see all the itinerary, and buy the masterclass tickets, you can visit walkerconsultingworkshops.com. Okay, so I have pulled out a page here. Actually, it's page 101. Just a reminder here, it's 8:37 a.m., and this is a 30-minute LinkedIn Live, so I will actually stop right at 30 minutes. And the active listening is on page 101. This is from the book, The ROI of LOL. And just a couple of lines here. Now, this section is all about improvisational comedy. So a few minutes ago, I did mention that the book actually breaks down, or I should say, it's broken down into a couple of different sub areas, meaning sketch comedy, improvisational comedy, and then did I already say stand-up comedy? But it's about storytelling, the facts of storytelling too. So sketch comedy is what I was trying to say. So the three major areas, three different types of comedy that Clayton and Steve talk about specifically in the ROI of LOL is stand-up comedy, improvisational comedy, and sketch comedy. And so As you know, what we do with this information is Clayton and Steve in the book take this information and talk about how it's used in their work life, in business, how it's used in speaking at work, building culture at work, and I'll let them actually tell you about the details of that in the workshop, because that's what their job is, right? Is to actually get into all the intricacies of that. And my job as the host is to bring you the material and kind of build the story up around why I'm hosting the workshop. So anyway, back to page 101. This section is for improvisational comedy. And on this page, we're talking about active listening. And there's just 3 bullet points, if you will, or actually 3 little phrases under the bullet point active listening. And Clayton says here that active listening involves, number 1, listening with your whole body. Number 2, focus not just on your teammates' words, but also their feelings. And number 3, remain open to possibilities you hadn't even thought of yet. Wow, so that's actually a lot of information right there, coming from a love of theater and filmmaking background and acting and so forth. Remaining open to possibilities you hadn't even thought of yet. That takes practice. That takes a lot of practice. So coming to a workshop like this is one of the reasons why you would, come to this Friday's workshop, is because this is your opportunity to dip your toe into, what are we talking about here? What does he mean when he says remain open to possibilities you hadn't even thought of yet? Okay, so as I read this with you, remember, I'm coming to you from, I have a background in theater and improv, but not professionally. And so I am as much a student with you. And this is exciting for me because I'm excited to dive into this on Friday. So as I said, I've been to Clayton's workshop before, but I was a guest there, and, I didn't get to go as far into the material as I wanted to. So this is actually going to be all kind of brand new for me too. So we're still on page 101, and I'm just reading off to you a quick couple of lines, and then we'll get back to what's on the menu at Friday's event. Storytelling is another bullet point on page 101 out of the ROI of LOL, how laughter breaks down walls, drives compelling storytelling, and creates a healthy workplace. So in the storytelling bullet point, Clayton writes out 3 more phrases here, and he says, 1, establish a clear and vivid setting. 2, drive the action through complication. And 3, find a way to end the scene that resolves the complication. So there's your basic setup for a storyline, according to Clayton in the book, The ROI of LOL. Storytelling: establish a clear and vivid setting, drive the action through complication, find a way to end the scene that resolves complication. So Brianna, and I know you're a writer. Annie, you might be a writer too. So you guys probably are better at this than I am as far as understanding the mechanics there. But what was interesting about this page to me is how this really, in a few short phrases, shows you Clayton's understanding of like what a traditional mechanical workout is of a story, but he puts it into like 3 phrases, 3 bullet points, and we're not actually learning how to become professional stand-ups in this workshop on Friday. We are just getting some know-how on how to incorporate humor in our own personal style of humor into our speaking skills. So that little page out of the book was kind of a little bit of an academic, introspective kind of look into the professional mechanics behind what Clayton teaches, because that's his professional background. What will we actually be doing in the workshop? Well, there's 3 sessions. And what we do is we open the doors at 10:30, and at 11 o'clock is when Clayton actually starts speaking and teaching. And then we break for lunch at 1 o'clock. And then at 1:30, 2 o'clock, we start with the second session. And then we'll have another little break for water, coffee, tea, and bathroom and all of those things. And then the third session later afternoon and wrap up by 4:00. So I told you that today's event was called the ROI of LOL and Catered Lunch. So what are we having for lunch? So this is the reason why I had titled today's LinkedIn Live audio around lunch is because I don't know about you, but when I go to an event, what the food and drink is going to be kind of matters, right? You want to know when I get there, am I going to have dietary issues or not? When I get there, am I going to need to bring anything with me? All of this stuff, right? So I know my day is fairly comfortable so I can concentrate on having fun. So I thought it would be cool to have this LinkedIn Live audio to talk about what we're having for lunch and what does it look and feel like. So all over the advertisements, you saw that the Power of Laughter Masterclass is at the Jefferson Center. And the Jefferson Center is this lovely historical building in downtown Roanoke. It actually used to be a high school, and it's a beautiful performing arts building, a nonprofit organization. And in Roanoke at the Jefferson Center, we do lots of concerts, right? It's basically known as a concert hall. So very cool. Been there many times. However, it also has some other spaces, as you have guessed, for formal meetings, and people do wedding parties there and things like that too. So in the Fosdeck Hall, which is capacity for 150 people, is actually a room with a secondary stage behind the main stage. So are you a LinkedIn user? If you are, you can join me for LinkedIn Live Audio with Elizabeth every week, usually on Mondays at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. I will have a LinkedIn Live Audio where we talk about podcasting for executives who speak and podcasting for team leaders who speak. These are the themes that are currently running. If that sounds like something you're interested, visit me, Elizabeth Walker at Work, on my LinkedIn profile. For this event on October 18th, this Friday, the Power of Laughter Masterclass at the Jefferson Center, it's actually in the Fosdeck Hall. So when you come there's actually two entrances, and actually when you park in the parking lot, you'll actually already be at the proper entrance for this Friday's event. So the box office and the parking lot are situated right together. It's actually a pretty cozy setup, so it's not a huge, giant parking lot. And this event is on Friday, and there's only 50 of us, right? So you're going to find parking, and you won't have to walk, but it's actually the parking lot and the building are situated together. So it's just on a little, the parking lot situation means you get out of your car, you walk across a really tiny side street, and you're at the box office. So that's another reason why I love this particular venue, is there's lots of space for parking, but you don't have to walk. Okay, so you get out of your car and you come to the box office, and the cat at the box office will be there. I will be there, and the doors open at 10:30. And Bella Events Catering is who is doing the catering, and she is supplying an all-day coffee bar. So that's the first thing on the menu that I'm looking at here with you. Again, if you are in the events, if you want to look at the menu, I published just a little one-page copy supplied from Bella Events Catering in the comments section of today's event. So if you navigate to the comments for today's event, I posted a photo, an image of the menu that you can click on and enlarge if you'd like. So this is for the luncheon. She calls it a luncheon, and I borrowed her terminology for some of the advertising this week. I said that this event is luncheon style, and I really like the way that sounded and feels. So I will keep saying it like that, a luncheon style workshop. So Marcia, who is the owner and operator at Bella Events Catering, she is setting up an all-day coffee bar. So doors open at 10:30. And so when you get there, you can hang out and get comfortable before we start at 11 o'clock if you want to, and get yourself some coffee and tea. So she says we're having regular coffee, iced tea, bottled water, syrups and creamer, as well as granola bars and biscottis. So doors open at 10:30 and all-day coffee bar starts then. So again, at 11 o'clock a.m., then we actually start. Clayton will start with us. And then by 1 o'clock on the menu here, we have a build your own luncheon box. All right, it's 8:48 p.m., or excuse me, a.m., and let me go ahead and take a little sip of my coffee here. Okay, thank you so much for being here today. And remember, Annie, you have a book copy. I need to get you one too, Brianna, if you would like. And if you have any friends in the Roanoke area who would like a book copy, you can connect them with me as well. Okay, so let me go back actually just for fun because we are still talking about the book too. Let me see if I can pull. My book is so full of sticky notes, I can almost open the book to any page and find something fun to talk about. Okay, so how about chapter 5, page 57 is actually the first page of the chapter entitled Stand-Up Comedy. And so the way this book lays out is there's some traditional narrative writing, and then there are these little sections highlighted in gray with stars, and they are tips from Clayton and Steve. So it's pretty cool. You can see how the book is broken up in terms of we know when Steve is talking and we know when Clayton is talking. And then they further this with some little highlighted sections that are tips from either Steve or Clayton. And as you know, Clayton is the comedian, Steve is the business guy. Now, this workshop on Friday is Clayton's workshop, so it will be Clayton presenting, but his co-author is Steve Cody, and that's why I keep mentioning Steve's name. So, but Clayton is the comedian, right? So on page 57, stand-up comedy is the chapter, and a couple of sentences from the LOL tip from Clayton on this page. He says, I've been in the performing arts throughout my life, and stand-up comedy is the only art form I've ever encountered that people think can't be taught. Told you. Okay, I did not plan this. I opened the book to page 57, and here is this sentence. Earlier, I told you ladies that since the ladies are the ones in the room right now, that what I find fascinating about Clayton's workshop is how adamant he is about teaching and being able to teach comedy. And he really stands by this idea that comedy can be taught. And if you've listened to any snippets of the interview that I did with Clayton in February, that's the same interview that is published on the Jefferson Center site advertisement page for this event. You can actually watch it right there on that website or on walkerconsultingworks.com. So anyway, so he says, I've been in the performing arts throughout my life, and stand-up comedy is the only art form I've ever encountered that people think can't be taught. And then he goes on to say, perhaps because the best practitioners of it make it look so natural. Some people think that you've either got this or you don't. And he says, I'm perplexed by this take, so let's explore it. Okay, so that is a fantastic, perfect place to land right now as far as exemplifying what gets me all worked up and excited, right, is that I immediately connect with what he's saying there because don't you just think, I don't know, I guess maybe comedy is one of those things I said recently in an interview that I desperately wish I could crack a joke in a business situation. And I don't usually, right? Because I'm not really sure, number one, if other people in the room will find it funny. And number two, what's the actual punchline, right? I might observe something funny, or I think that a situation was funny. And those are both things that Clayton says well, I guess what I'm really talking about here is what Clayton calls situational comedy. You can make a joke out of something that you observe, or excuse me, he doesn't say situational comedy, he says observational. You can make a joke or a funny story out of something that you observe to be funny, something that you think is funny. However, you still have to find the punchline, right? So that's one of the things that I'm trying to get out of Clayton is how can I find, that what's the shortest line, right? What's the shortest distance from me thinking something's funny to how do I find the punchline to share it in a room with people and apply it, appropriately, right? Does it apply to the situation? So kind of building those natural chops, I guess. So what I think, of course, is fascinating is that Clayton thinks that we can learn this. So, okay, so let's try it out, Clayton. I'm putting him to the test. If he can teach me how to figure out how to pull out some comedy tricks in a business meeting, then he's doing a good job because I do not know how to do that. Okay, so back to the menu. So we said, and by the way, it's 8:54 a.m., Thank you again so much for being here. I do love doing these LinkedIn Live audios, and today was a little bit different because we're talking about a lunch menu, and we're going all around basically a huge advertisement that I'm giving you around this workshop, the Power of Laughter Masterclass on this Friday, October 18th. You can show up and buy a ticket at the door, but if you go ahead and reserve a seat, then I'll have your information and your name tag and some things set up for you in a gift bag. So let's review what's on the menu really quick, finally getting to lunch here at the very end of this LinkedIn Live audio. Build your own luncheon box. Okay, so again, we're in the Fostek Hall, and there's a maximum of 50 of us. I don't think there's going to be 50 of us, but what's going to happen is we'll have tables and the all-day coffee bar. So it will be build your own luncheon box. So on the menu here at 1 p.m., we're scheduled to have our choices of sandwiches and our choices of sides. So the sandwich choices: cranberry walnut chicken salad with spring mix on croissants. That sounds really good. The second choice is Black Forest ham Dijon with cheddar on ciabatta rolls. I hope I'm saying ciabatta correctly. That also sounds really good. And then also, she says we have Marsha at Bella Events Catering. This is straight from her menu. Bella Events Catering is here in Roanoke, Virginia. And the other choice on the menu here that Bella Events Catering is bringing this Friday to the Power of Laughter Masterclass in the Fostek Hall is also a mix of veggie wraps and turkey pesto wraps with sun-dried tomatoes. She snuck that in there. I did not realize that until just now that she said cranberry walnut chicken salad, first choice, second choice, Black Forest ham, third choice, she said mix of veggie wraps, and then she also snuck in there turkey pesto wraps. Okay, so that's exciting. I like pesto too, and I love sun-dried tomatoes. I did not tell her to put these things on the menu. She picked, Marsha at Bella Events Catering picked these choices herself, and I guess she knows what she's doing because it's her catering business. And then the side choices are Italian pasta salad, cup, or chips, and then she's also bringing us cookies and brownies. Now, I haven't told anybody this publicly yet, but there's also going to be another special cookie delivery. I have a friend, I'll whisper her name into the mic right now. Her name's Laurette, and she's my friend at WVTF Public Radio who helped me put the ad together on WVTF for this particular event. If you are on WVTF Radio IQ radio, and at any point during the day right now, all week long, you can hear support from Walker Consulting Workshops on there. So cool. Laurette loves to bake, and she keeps telling me that she's going to bring some really gourmet, fancy, homemade chocolate chip cookies. And I've heard that she's made these same cookies for Mark Warner, as in the Virginia governor. So apparently there's something to brag about. So anyway, what time is it? It is 8:57 a.m. Eastern time. So we have 3 minutes left And let's go see if we can pull one more quote out of the book, because this is fun for me. I hope you are having fun too. Thank you so much for being here. Improv comedy step by step is page 99. I must have a hankering for this particular area of the book. We were just here. Let me pick a different page. 121. In page 121, this is in the section Stand-Up Comedy in Business. And there's a section here, an ROI tip from Steve, and he talks about a story of how he has a very heartfelt story in here. I will leave that for when you read it. The page right before it, 119, is about emotional fullness, and this is still the subject, stand-up comedy in business. Emotional fullness is a really excellent little topic to explore. This is what Clayton says is happening when you see a performer on stage and you are watching them sort of relive an experience in front of you, right? You're watching some really good acting skills, and a stand-up comedian does the same thing, and Clayton calls it emotional fullness, where he's actually kind of reliving the emotions of the story that he's telling you right in front of you, and it makes it very real, and you kind of build a connection with him and live the story with him as he's telling you, because he's bringing those emotions in real time to the stage with him and to you. And so on page 119, he says, as we explored in chapter 5, the best performers are eager and willing to share their true feelings with their audiences. This can be a daunting thought for many leaders who are accustomed to keeping things close to the vest. Sharing emotion is not a sign of weakness, but rather strength. Of course, it must be done in the appropriate way and with the sensibilities of one's corporate culture front of mind. You can't share all things with all people, but finding moments to let your emotions breathe can be liberating for you and your stakeholders. Okay, it's 9:00 a.m. Eastern Time, and that is the last line of the LinkedIn Live audio today. Thank you so much for being here. You are a superstar, and I hope you have a fantastic week. Talk to you all soon. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name's Elizabeth in Floyd, Virginia. This has been an episode of Dear Business Coach.